Hey everyone, Ethan Young here, career coach, former Scotiabank intern, current software consultant at Oracle. I help people land higher paying jobs. Today I'm going to walk you through a goal of mine, actually my 7-step plan, a free strategy that I'm sharing with you that I am deploying as we speak, right? To get into Big Four tech consulting. Okay, so this is my exact 7-step plan that I'm going to lay out for you that you can just copy if you want to also move into Big Four tech consulting. And honestly, you can use this strategy for really any job. Okay, it doesn't matter. This is just how I'm applying it to Big Four. Okay, so 7 steps. I will talk about. I've basically been in this plan now for the past only 3 or 4 weeks, honestly, and I haven't been putting too much time into it. If I really had to, I definitely would put a lot more time into it, but I'm not honestly in a big rush to move into Big Four tech consulting. But even putting this minimal amount of time into it, it probably will happen in the next month or so, right? So I would have sped run this offer in about maybe 2 months. Okay. So here's what's going to happen. Step number one is connection requests. Okay. Every week you want to hit your max cap, right? So depending on what level of LinkedIn you have, whether that's premium or I think there's a tier above premium, you want to max that out, but you got to do that strategically. Okay. So let me switch over to my other tab here. Basically what you're going to do, pop into your LinkedIn here, and you want to just do some searches. Okay, so I'm going to do a search for Deloitte Tech Consulting. Let's do a search for that. So that's what I'm targeting, right? Deloitte Tech Consulting. Go over to people, and then locations, you want to stick to the country you're in. So I'm in Canada right now. Let's do that. And that's it, right? So Deloitte Tech Consulting and current companies, let's just filter this to Deloitte actually. Otherwise, you'll get people that used to work at Deloitte Tech Consulting, but now they work at KPMG. I'm not, some other big four or some other firm that's not big four. I don't want that, right? So I want current Deloitte Tech Consulting. So I will do current companies equals Deloitte. So this is it, right? And the last filter you want to add is look for people that are second connections, okay? So you have people, second connections, they are in the same country as you and they currently work at Deloitte, and your keywords are Deloitte Tech Consulting, depending on whatever you're looking for, right? So I would go through this list and kind of just send out mass connections here. So I would go through all of these people, and assuming I was just focusing on Deloitte for this week, I would go and cap out all of my connections just on these people here. Okay. So I think most people will get maybe 100 connections in per week before they hit the limit. I think for me, it's like 200 or so. I would just do 100 of these, 100 connections, boom, onto the next page, get your next 10 in, boom, onto the next page, get your next 10 in. Do this every weekend or designate a day to do it. It doesn't take long, honestly. It literally takes like 5 minutes because all you're doing is just typing in these keywords and the filters and you're just spamming the connections, okay? Should you send a personalized note? No, I don't care about sending personalized notes for this strategy specifically because I already know that if I send 100 of these out, I'm probably going to get at least 20 or 30, if not more, actual connections, right, from these, right? So 20 or 30, that's enough for me to set up a bunch of coffee chats. So that's more than enough for what I'm looking for here, okay? So send those out. Do this on a weekly basis and target one of the big four companies, or you can even just do 25 of each of the big fours, okay? So this is the first step that I've done already. Okay. Let's go over to the second step here. So after you've maxed out your weekly connection requests, cold DMs. Okay, this is the part that a lot of people they don't really know how to do. Okay, let me show you how to do this. The point of the cold DM is to go into step number 3, which is to set up the coffee chat. Okay, you want to get to know these people. So let's go over to my network, and I'm going to look for some people in my connections that currently work at Deloitte Tech Consulting that would have accepted my connection request. Okay. So let's click on search with filters in the top right here. And we want to, of course, just look for our first connection so we can DM them right away. Current companies, of course, we will filter this to Deloitte. And, I will see a lot of people here that work at Deloitte Consulting, but I mean, you can see here we have 10 pages. A lot of these people, they're not really in tech consulting specifically. So I'm going to water this down a bit by clicking on all filters. Scroll down to the bottom, and what I want is this title. So title keywords, I'm just going to put consultant here. That's good enough. You could put tech consultant. I've tried it before. It's too stringent. It's too strict. That criteria to the point where you might get no results. Okay. So here are my consultants that work at Deloitte who I'm currently connected with, right? So their first connections, you can see here. And I'm just going to go through these. Now, a lot of these I've already messaged, but I'm going to do a live one with you, someone I have not messaged before, just to give you an idea of what this process looks like live. Okay. So a lot of these people I've already met with or have DM'd at least. Let's go into the second page here. Okay, this girl I have not. So Yasmin Mohammed. Okay, so she is a technology consultant at Deloitte and technology strategy and transformation. That's exactly the department that I'm looking to get into. So she's a perfect match. I'm going to click on her profile. Okay. Off the bat, I already see something that's interesting, right? So she went to the Groot School of Business, which is the same school that I went to. And that's perfect, right? So that's something I could bring up there if I wanted to, although it's kind of overused, I would say. I'll read a bit about her section. Yeah, she just talks about her MBA, her current job. Nothing crazy here, right? A pretty short section. Okay. Keep scrolling down. Keep scrolling down. She's been a technology consultant here for since May 2024, so almost 2 years. Exciting. And she also started as a BTA. Okay. And then before that, she was working at McMaster and FedEx. Okay. So what I would do in this scenario is I want to send out a DM to her. Something that's interesting here is that she didn't even study business or accounting. She actually studied cognitive science. Okay. So that's something I might call out as well. But she did do her MBA. Okay. So that obviously helps her to get to this current position. So what I'm going to do is live with you right now. I will send her a DM. Hi, Yasmin. I came across your profile. A couple notes caught my eye. One, and again, each message I send is completely different, but you always want to have something that catches your eye, right? This is a good statement because if you mention something that catches your eye about the profile, then you're making it very unique, right? You're talking about something that's specific. It's not just, oh, you work at Deloitte Tech Consulting. No, this is going to be something specific here. Okay, this is going to be something specific like I noticed. Excuse me. I noticed you studied at the Groot. I did as well, but you did your MBA, but your bachelor's was in honors cognitive science of language. That's interesting. Okay, so I came across your profile. A couple notes caught my eye. We both studied at Mac. Go the Groot. And then second point here, I might say something like, you majored in cog sci, but made a transition into tech consulting. How cool. Right. So I'm keeping this very friendly. Honestly, sometimes it's hit or miss. Some people are very like direct people and they don't really like these kind of like I don't know how to call this, but this one is definitely a bit of a very friendly type of DM you can see here, right? And that's because, this person she's a consultant. She's probably not too much older than me. We might even be the same age, probably. She's maybe a few years older than me, but I wouldn't send this to something like someone like a partner or senior manager, right? If they're like a consultant, we've pretty much been in the work, in the job market for, or sorry, in the work in the labor market for like the same amount of time. I almost feel like they're like a peer or colleague to me, so I can just send something like this. Okay. um, I'm currently working at Oracle, NetSuite, and am looking to move to Deloitte Tech and Transformation Consulting. Was wondering if you'd be open to hop on a quick call over the next couple of weeks. Let me know. Okay. So pretty casual there. Nothing insane right there. Yeah. Hi, Yasmin. Came across your profile. I pointed out some things that caught my eye, right? So it makes it more unique and personalized instead of a copy and paste. I've actually also, I would recommend you can even send this as a voice note because voice notes are even more personalized and you probably even get a higher response rate. I've actually done it a few times, and one girl told me on the call, she said, Ethan, that was very interesting. You sent the voice note. It really caught my eye. It was one of the reasons I wanted to take the call with you. Okay. So voice notes can work as well. Again, nothing crazy here. I tell a little bit about myself, what I'm looking for. I make it clear that I'm looking to get into the role that she's currently at. Okay. So we'll let that rest. What I would do is send this out to a bunch of people. Okay. So go through your connections, send this out to a bunch of people, make it a bit tailored. You don't need to spend too much time on this, guys, right? It's just don't copy and paste it because, again, these people all work with each other. If you're sending the same copy and paste, they're going to be like, oh, did you get a message from Ethan? Oh, I got the exact same message, right? I've actually had that issue before where someone was coffee chatting myself and my peers, and they just sent the same message. I was like, wow, look at that. We all got the same thing. It kind of leaves a bad flavor in a sense in your mouth. Okay, so that's the first step here, or the second step. Let's get back to coffee chats. So Yasmin will get back to us, or she might not. Most of the time, they will never get back to you, and that's okay because if you send out 10 of these, you will have a few people that get back to you, maybe two or three. Okay. And you will actually schedule one or two chats. Okay. Those are just the numbers you can work with. For me, my response rates are much higher because I've built out my LinkedIn to 9,000 followers and I post every single day. So it's almost impossible for people to see me when they log into their LinkedIn. For other people though, when I was in university, I was booking maybe 10% of chats from DMs, right? So that was my conversion rate. If I did 10 DMs, I would get one chat. That was pretty much my conversion. Okay. Coffee chats. Okay. So now what we'll do here is you go onto the coffee chat with Yasmin over here. She works at Deloitte Tech Consulting. Make sure you prepare for it, right? So I'm definitely going to do a deep dive into everything about this girl, everything, right? So where she studied, I'm going to go through her work experience. I'm going to go through her posts. What is she posting? Is she commenting on some cool stuff? What articles is she reading or reposting? Anything in her featured section, her about me section, anything I can find about this girl on her LinkedIn profile, I will learn about her so that by the time I get to the conversation, we can have a much deeper conversation that isn't just so surface level. And I'm not asking questions that I could have just found out on her LinkedIn profile. Okay. Once I get to this conversation with Yasmin here, I want to build a connection. It's not just me asking questions about, oh, tell me about your day to day, tell me about blah, 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 right? Those are like really boring questions, which are still fine to ask sometimes, right? And one of the videos I made, I actually have those questions in there as a general template, right? Especially if as you're first starting off, you just want to literally get to know what the job is actually like. Those are completely fine questions to ask. But if you're having multiple coffee chats, you should probably already have an understanding of what the job entails. At this point in time, you're kind of just more so building a connection and going over some other more personal questions about, okay, what do you actually like about this job, Yasmin? I'm really curious. Or what do you actually dislike about the job, right, as a consultant? Or what's been your biggest challenge as a consultant? So I get a sense of, the different obstacles that a consultant would face in this type of role. So now I'm trying to dig deeper into these more personalized questions that I can't just find on her LinkedIn or ask anyone. Her answers are going to be very specific to her. Because if I ask her a question like, tell me about your day to day, she's going to give a very similar answer to some other Deloitte tech consultant that has the exact same job as her because they work the same job. You have to then ask questions that are a bit more personalized that require them to dig a bit deeper. Okay. So I'm going to go in and ask those types of questions, but I also want to spend some time to actually build rapport, right? Who is Yasmin outside of work? And this really depends on the type of person you speak to. Some people you can kind of tell are not so much open to building that type of connection. They're very kind of like hard nosed, right to business, very direct. They don't want to talk about things outside of work. Most of the people I speak to on coffee chats are more than happy to talk about that, but you can't just go right into it and start asking like some very personal, deep hidden questions. There has to be like an ease into it, right? Okay, so very generally, you can build some rapport with them, but you want to build a good vibe with them, right? Because the thing is, the more that people like you, and the more similar things that you have in common with them, the more likely they will just you don't even have to ask for the referral. They will literally just say like, Ethan, I think you'd be a good fit here. Actually, you mentioned that you're looking to get into Big Four consulting based on your current experience, what you've told me about yourself. You know what? Let me go talk to my senior manager. We are hiring quite a bit here. I think you'd be a good fit in our team, right? So they'll say things like that to the point where you don't even have to ask for the referral, right? you shouldn't even have to ask for the referral sometimes because they will like you so much that they will want to bring you onto their team. Okay, that's one of the best ways to get referrals. Okay, so I'm going to go and have this conversation with Yasmin. And one of the most important questions you want to ask at any time, or really at the end of the coffee chat, is there anyone else you think I should speak to? Right. And depending on how the conversation went, you can kind of tailor this question a bit more. Right. So if this was a person that you ended up speaking to that wasn't really in your department that you're looking for, you can ask them a question like, I'm looking to get into the others department in tech consulting. You're currently in risk consulting. Is there anyone that you know in tech consulting that I could reach out to? Boom. Okay, so that's good. If the person that you did speak to was exactly in the department that you wanted to, in this case, Yasmin here is in our department that we want to target, then what I would do is I would simply just ask something like, okay, is there anyone else that you've worked with on your teams before that you think would also be a really good person to chat with and would be able to share a lot of insights? I definitely love to connect with them, right? Or also, what you could do is kind of just ask them, like, what do you think are the next steps that I should take to kind of break into tech consulting at Deloitte? And that way, you're kind of like serving up a plate, setting the table for them to basically say something like, yeah, I can refer you. Or, yeah, like I am more than happy to put in the word for you with the recruiting team or my senior manager, right? You're showing that intention without directly asking for a referral. In some cases, you definitely can ask for a referral. The other day, I was talking to a guy from PwC, and the at the end of the coffee chat, I mean, we had a pretty chill coffee chat. I think he's actually like a year younger than me, or maybe around the same age. And I actually offered him a referral to come work at Oracle. But after I gave him that offer, I then asked him if he could refer me at PwC, right? So law of reciprocity, I use that over there. So sometimes you can do it depending on the vibe. Okay. Number four, gather that referral. And then now I have a referral. Basically, what's going to happen is I will get an email with a link to apply. And this is going to be a separate link that 99% or all of the cold applicants don't apply using that link. I apply through this link and I mention who my referrer is. And what I will do is I will actually spend some time tailoring my resume. I actually normally don't do this, but you definitely should. Spend some time tailoring your resume on the to kind of make it match the job description a bit more, and that way that will increase the chances that your referral will actually convert into an interview. Now, also, what can happen is if you actually don't go through like the very general process when it comes to applying to these jobs, right? Especially if you had a coffee chat with someone, they might redirect you to their senior manager or their partner, and then you'll have a chat with them that might be a bit more informal, but that basically is almost like a pre-interview in a sense. And then at that point, you're not really, you don't have to put so much emphasis on your resume. You're already in the system, or kind of have your foot in the door. You're already talking to the senior managers and the partners. They'll bring you through a much less formal interview process, and you can get the job there, right? So that's another route as well. Okay, so tailor my resume a bit and then go through that application process. It should be like 50-50 that you get an interview at that point. Okay. Now, interview prep. You land the interview. What do you do? Okay, so I'll give an example. So I got an interview coming up. This is my second round interview with KPMG for a senior consulting role in tech consulting. Well, it's like technology risk consulting actually. And the person, the manager or partner that I'm meeting with is this woman here, and I will be meeting with this person next Friday, I believe, 9 a.m., 9 to 10 a.m. And what I would do is I would search this person up, right, as I've done here, and just deep dive into the profile. I want to get to know this person as much as possible before I even get to the interview. Okay, so I'm going to read everything in their About Me section. I'm going to go into their activity. What do I know about them? I will look at their experience. Oh, interesting. They worked at Deloitte for almost 2 decades, and then they recently switched to KPMG. Why would they do that? I'm curious. Why would they do that? Okay. And then I see that she worked in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia for yeah, I guess almost 3 years or so, 2 to 3 years, and she also studied there in Malaysia, University Malaya. Okay, so some interesting things there that I already picked up on her. She studied comp sci, which is interesting, and she's now in a director of risk consulting. I would even go deeper into maybe her skills, top voices, people that she's interested in. I would love to go into all of this because I want to get a sense of who they are. Now, she doesn't have a very large social presence, which is fine, Some of the people you meet will have a very large social presence. I even recommend sometimes searching them up on YouTube. Maybe they have like some cool side hustle there that you can bring up, and they will be so surprised that you did that much research. Okay. But yeah, that's pretty much what I would do to get a better sense of the person that will be interviewing me. And now you'll usually have 3 rounds when it comes to these big four consulting um, jobs, right? So the first round normally is going to be an HR screen. This is literally just a 30-minute call with the HR person, the recruiter, and they're just asking you very simple questions, right? They're asking you things like, what is are you willing to relocate to this office for this job? When's the earliest that you can start? What's your salary expectation? Things like that, right? Very simple questions. Oh, and then they'll also ask you like, yeah, like why move to Big Four, or what interests you about this job? Things like that. Okay. The next step after that is you'll either have like a technical round interview. In this case, with KPMG, have a technical round interview, or you'll have just kind of more like a manager interview, right? That's really going to be a bit more like behavioral, situational type. Okay, and at that point in time, depending on what you get there, depending on the role, just prepare for it, guys. Like really practice out your questions, and don't just try not to make it sound scripted. Actually practice with other people and get them to give you feedback. Record yourself too to see how you sound at yourself. And after that, the third round will usually be like a partner interview. This is kind of more like a vibe check to see how you would fit in the company culture. Again, you'll get some more behavioral and situational questions as well, but it's really just a conversation with the partner at that point in time. Okay. So it's pretty simple. I mean, for most of these tech consulting jobs, those are like the 3 stages of interviews. Nothing crazy here, right? You're spending maybe, I don't know, 2 to 3 hours of talking for interviews. It's nothing crazy. Okay. After that, you're gonna nail the interview, and then we're gonna grab that offer plus a little salary negotiation. Kind of see what the band is, the salary band is for the role on the job description. See if you can try to hit that upper band, depending on where you're coming from. This is a lateral move, or you're a new grad. Whatever if you're a new grad, it's a bit more difficult to kind of negotiate. Only because you probably don't have that much experience to use as leverage. But if you're coming in here with like 2, 3 plus years of experience, you definitely have a bit more leverage here. Okay. So that's what I would recommend here is I mean, this is pretty much the exact same system I'm using right now. Let me walk you through some of the results I've been using or I've received over honestly, I have not put too much effort into this already, but it's already paying off really quickly. So, I've only had 5 coffee chats. So, I've only had 5 coffee chats with people that work at Big 4 and tech consulting, and already from 5 coffee chats, I've had 2 informal referrals at Deloitte and 1 formal referral at PwC. Let me just tell you what an informal referral is. An informal referral is when they say, "Oh, you know what? I really like you, Ethan. Let me go speak to my senior manager about you." Right? They'll put your profile up and they'll send it to the senior manager, and you can schedule a chat with them. Right? That's an informal referral. It's still really good, and in fact, in some cases, I would say it's actually better than a formal referral because senior managers and directors and partners have really high um, hiring power. Okay, they have a lot of power when it comes to hiring because those are the people that you'd be working with. So obviously, they're going to have a really strong say when they go speak to HR. Like, hey, I think you really should take a look at this person's resume or this person's candidacy because I spoke with them already. They're really good. Or so and so spoke to them and they brought me up to them. I'd like to schedule an interview with them. Okay. So I got 2 informal referrals there and 2 different departments within tech consulting at Deloitte. I got 1 formal referral after a 30-minute chat from PwC, a guy from PwC. And then I don't recommend doing cold applications. I honestly just did it because I was at the start I was just interested to see how my resume would fare. And I did about maybe 50 is too much. I maybe did like 40 to 50 cold applications across all 4 firms, and I only got 1 interview. Okay, so this is why I don't recommend doing call applications right here. Okay, I got 1 interview from KPMG, which now have the second round interview next week or this coming week, and that was after 50 call apps. Okay, so again, I don't recommend doing the call applications route. It's because you'll just run out of jobs. If you're only targeting Big Four, you have literally 4 firms to target. You're going to run out of applications, right? You can't apply again to the same job. Okay. So yeah, I got 50. I got 1 interview from 50 cold applications. And then also, just from a guy I knew networking at the gym, I got one formal referral, right? So like an actual referral, also at Deloitte. And this was not, I don't even know if this was really tech consulting. Maybe it was. It's consulting. I don't remember what job it was. It was like global delivery consulting. But yeah, I submitted that already like 2 weeks ago. Haven't heard anything back yet, but usually with referrals, it could take some time, sometimes 2 to 4 weeks with these big four consulting firms, right? And if you're doing a cold application, it could sometimes take like 6+ weeks. Okay. So again, referrals are your way to go. Keep coffee chatting, guys. That's what I'm doing right now. I'll keep you guys posted, right? In about a month or so, I expect an offer to come through, or I should say offers really. And yeah, this is literally my exact copy. This is my exact strategy that I'm using right now to move into Big Four. It's paying off already, and I recommend just copy it, try it out. Let me know your thoughts on it. Send me a DM on LinkedIn or drop a comment on YouTube to see how it's working for you. But my name is Ethan Young. I'm a former Scotiabank intern, current software consultant at Oracle, and I'm a career coach. I help people land higher paying jobs. So if you're interested in working with me, I have a link in the job description, sorry, not job description, in the YouTube description, video description, as well as in my YouTube header. You can click there and apply to work with me if you're interested. If not, I'll catch you guys later. Bye bye.